Bat music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the podcast where we talk very long and very slowly about Tim Burton's 1992 Batman sequel, Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to talk about Batman's delayed gratification, it is I, John Parker.
And once again, we're joined by one of the trifecta from the Dark Knight Minute, Jake Clark.
Howdy. How's everybody doing? We want to put a smile on your face and leave you satisfied.
Today we're talking about minute 108 of Batman Returns. It begins with the Penguins, not the Penguin, the Penguins, waddling out of Gotham Square, and it ends a minute later with the Batman homing in on something or other. And now we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. And a whole lot of grunting.
Oh, yeah. Lots of grunting. In fact, he doesn't say a word in this minute, does he?
No. But we wanted to talk briefly as well, though, because I don't know if we got many shots of them in this particular minute, because we get a lot of shots of various forms of penguins, whether they be animated or actual penguins or people in suits. But we've not actually gone into the people they hired to be the people in the suits thus far. And some of them are quite established actors. They're obviously all little people in order to fit into the penguin suits. Some great behind the scenes footage of them all trying it on, and everyone seems like they're having a great time just running around in these penguin outfits and stuff. But there's a big list of them on IMDb, but only 2 of them have pictures. So I've taken those 2 out as being those must be the most famous of these actors. One of them is definitely a person you know as well. One of the Penguin actors is Debbie Lee Carrington. Most people would know her as Thumbelina in Total Recall. She was the little person in the Mars bar. Oh my god, it was a completely unintentional thing, but the bar on Mars.
The Mars bar.
Nobody ever made that joke in the movie. It's a Mars bar.
I'm pretty sure they probably might have on the side, but if it needs to be good, you have to have it deep fried, right?
Yeah, and you have to wait for about 5 years to actually eat it because
it's like molten lava.
Yeah, it's just it feels cool on the outside, but it ain't cool in the center. Let me tell you.
I'll tell you what's even better though. If you fry it, a Snickers is even better.
Yeah.
That's the
one. I've had that. I've was at a football match. An actual, it was a soccer match, as we say it here in America.
Oh, okay.
It was our Major League Soccer team, and so every once in a while they'll have food trucks right outside the front of the stadium, and so they had a frozen yogurt, and then they had a corn dog place, and the corn dog was a foot long, but you could get deep fried Milky Way and Snickers if you wanted.
Yeah. We actually had a thing in university when the house I lived in with my friend Dave, who's a professional chef now, and he was getting into just trying out all these different things. And we actually did have a big deep fat fryer, and he was like, "I'm gonna make the deep fried Mars bars and stuff." But that night, obviously because we still had the batter there, everything was getting deep fat fried. So people deep fat fried as cigarettes. Deep fat fried a sock. Everything was getting put in that thing. To the point where you never want to use that oil ever again because the crap has gone into it.
How did the sock taste?
Well, the thing is that we were obviously no one's going to eat this sock. But then someone did fall asleep on the sofa and woke up the next morning that hungry that he was just picking bits of batter off the sock.
A little toe jam right there.
But that's what you do when you're a student, obviously. You don't go get to university to get an education. You go there to do stupid things like deep fat fry a sock.
So you said his name was Dave,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Was his last name Ramsey?
No, but he's a big fan, let me tell you. So, most weeks end up landing in just like, oh, I gotta put on this Hell's Kitchen. It's the worst show in the world. It's amazing.
That's the reason why I watch it.
I remember that was
That's
like, we used to watch it when I lived with former guest Gaz Flint. And he was always like, oh, what are you coming around to watch Hell's Kitchen for? Like, what's the... And then one time he sat in watching it with us. And the amount of laughing he was doing at the end. And he's like, all right, okay, I get it now. Like, this is the stupidest thing in existence.
It's more for the insults.
It's just like, it's the insane erratic editing of it as well. It's just like, it'll literally go from nothing's happening to, it's the most dramatic thing ever in the space of 2 seconds, but it'll be over nothing.
You think you've missed something. Like, what? Wait, what?
And it's when they can't, like, actually get in any more tense in the show, they'll end up, like, physically shaking the camera to make it even more extreme and stuff. It's nuts.
Be tense, damn it.
But anywho, of course, yes, back to Debbie Lee Carrington, who, of course, Thumbelina in Total Recall. But she also made her debut in Under the Rainbow, the much maligned Under the Rainbow. People might recall that with Carrie Fisher and Chevy Chase. She was Romba Ewok in Return of the Jedi. And then she played Weechi in the Ewok movies. I'm not too sure who Romba Ewok is, specifically.
I don't know the names of 99% of the Ewoks. I know about 3.
I know Wicket.
Yeah. Wicket, that's about... He's the only one you need to know, really. But
Well, I don't know. There's a couple who are kind of characters, aren't they?
But she also played Valerie Vomit in a Garbage Pail Kid movie.
Yeah.
She featured in... she's Tammy in an episode of Seinfeld. People might recall that as in Seinfeld, Kramer had his friend Mickey, who was a little person actor, and he had a love interest, Tammy, and that was her. But she also featured in Howard the Duck as various different ducks. And it's just appropriate that came up this week, because I just remembered from mentioning it on the Mogwai Minute. I was on there a couple of weeks back, and there was the topic of Howard the Duck came up, and I forgot to mention to them that I've actually got my old novelization of the Howard the Duck movie, and I had to make the point of being like on the Facebook group of like, oh, by the way, the novelization is way better than it should be.
I loved it as a kid, but I liked the movie, so that's why I bought the book.
The book's great because it's like, as one of the guys who used to, it was written by a guy called Ellis Wiener, who used to be the editor for National Lampoon. And you can just tell he's just got like, they've hired me to do a novelization of this stupid movie. Let's have some fun with it. And so he like the opening chapter is like an argument between God and the narrator about how to narrate the story and stuff. And there's just like in the middle of it, it'll just go on to like, it'll do like 5 pages of backstory about a character who's not in the movie. Just it'd be like, oh yeah, this laser was invented by this character. And then he'll just do a big thing about him, make up some really, really stupid, like, there's something about, I remember one of them was involved like a character who was like a plant hypnotist or something.
Amazing.
And yeah, just doing weird stuff like that. And then eventually be like, okay, so back to Howard the Duck. And then he'll eventually get back to the like summing up the movie he's supposed to be doing. And then,
I was going to say it sounds like a Batman villain, but it's kind of Poison Ivy.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. I do recall towards the end as well, where he's talking about like the big spectrograph thing that like is supposed to be bringing down the dark overlords, and he's like, of course, anyone who knew anything about science would know that this is not what a spectrograph does, and then writes in like block capitals like, it could be that the story of Howard the Duck isn't all that intelligent.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's like really just at his wit's end of like, I can't wait to finish this freaking book and stuff. But for those reasons alone, you should go out and buy the novelization of Howard the Duck. And if you want, you can watch the movie. But the movie is legit terrible, but in a good way. But the book is legitimately
yes,
good.
It is bad, but it is in a good way. There's those bad movies that you watch that you still think are fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's those bad movies that you watch just because they're not good.
I include that in the so bad it's good camp, but if I remember, Niall, actually, going back to former guest Gaz Flint, wasn't he viciously offended that this was even on? when we were watching it.
I think it was Jimmy when we watched it with.
Oh, he was even
He went off to have a nap in it. He was just like, "That's it. I'm going back. I'm going to the back room to have a sleep. I'm not watching this movie anymore."
Oh my god! How can you be that annoyed by the film?
It was weird too, because it was during like the final kind of thing, and like if nothing else, the stop motion animation for like the thing that Jeffrey Jones turns into. That's amazing animation. I was like, let's look at that. Just watch that. Don't think about anything else, and just appreciate how good that animation is. But no, he couldn't do it.
Well, back in this, we get some rather epic DeVito chewing here, both the scenery and whatever the hell's in his mouth. It's fantastic. He's just,
he's still clinging on to that fish. He's just like, I'm not even gonna like. I think with things going the way they are, it's like I better swallow this or spit it out or something. But he's like, no, I'm just gonna enjoy the fact that I'm eating.
No, it's like a comforter to him. It's like a dummy, a pacifier.
Have either of you guys ever done like comfort eating or stress eating? Because whenever I'm stressed, I can't eat. Like it's the one thing I can't do. It's just if I'm very, very worried, I can't eat anything because I just feel sick. But I've always seen people like, I've seen it been a thing on TV and stuff like, stress eating when something bad happens, people going out and just eating all the time. That strikes me as such a. I'm sure it's obviously a thing that does exist. But have you guys ever found that to be a habit of yourselves, or?
I just eat permanently, like all the time.
Says someone that's like as skinny as can be. Jeez, John.
I'm not. I wish.
Well, your photos say otherwise. But depends on like under the initial stress. Like once I've calmed down a little bit, like and I realize that I'm hungry, I'll eat and I'll eat whatever, and it's usually not the healthiest of things. So it's like I'm really hungry. What sounds good? I'm gonna go to Taco Bell, and then I eat way too much, and then I regret my decision later.
Never regret. Stick by your decisions.
But it just all kind of depends, stress eating can happen. It just depends on kind of where you're at in life. Because I know some people that do it on a daily basis because they're always stressed. I'm like, that's probably not a good thing.
Oh yeah,
that's when you run into problems. Yeah. Every now and then, fine.
Well, that's when you need Harry Dean Stanton to show up and be like, "Well, son, I think you got a condition," and just like.
I thought you were going to quote him in Twin Peaks: The Return, there when he's telling the guy off for selling his blood.
That was like my main memory of Harry Dean Stanton in that series is just him going on about like, "Oh, you want a cigarette?" It's like, "No, I quit." It's like, "Smoked every day for 70 years." And just like bragging to this guy who stopped smoking while he's smoking in front of him.
Yeah, you piece of crap. You don't do that to someone.
Yeah, it's the fact he's like 98 or something when he's shooting it as well. It's like, you dick, Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh, now the penguin here. You say he's stress eating, and that ties in because he's totally speechless now. He's got no words. I mean, because obviously he's literally physically eating. He can't speak, but because he's so shocked, he's so dumbfounded by what's going on. He doesn't know what to do or say or any action to take. He can't issue commands. What do you do? Batman's he's lost already.
Yeah,
the penguin has lost.
There's a real it's like you should have had a plan B, dude. Of like, what happens if Batman comes for you? Like, I didn't think of that. Oh crap! What am I gonna do? I guess it got past my sentry penguins that I had fire the rockets at them as well.
Yeah, well, it's like the trope with any movie. Like they never have a backup plan. Like you look at any Bond film.
Yeah.
Do they ever have a backup plan?
No, and they've usually revealed the main plan to Bond for some reason.
Yes, and then they leave him to die, and then he escapes.
Yep.
Yeah, at least the penguin had the sense to not come out the Batman and declare, "My plan is now to blow up Gotham Square with an army of penguins." He at least left him. Well, we're assuming Batman probably beat that out of like the organ grinder when he picked him up.
Yeah,
but also as well, I guess like we see the penguin observing everything over these television sets. Are we to take it that the Red Triangle Gang like hacked into like the CCTV of the city? Is that it? Or was there CCTV in the early 90s? Or is that like a modern thing?
No, there was. It wasn't as widespread.
Like, there's getting some interesting angles on these penguins.
It's not like now where there's literally a camera on every corner.
Mm.
In fact, I had to recently report something to the police, and noticed there were about 5 cameras pointing at the incident. So I was like, "Oh, it's fine. They're not going to call me to like go to court or anything. There's evidence here."
Well, you were wrong. I'm just kidding.
Well, I did say in the form you have to fill in, like, you can contact me if you want, but they didn't. Basically, a guy ran a red light, and the pedestrian he almost hit, like, banged on his car, like to say, "Screw you," you know.
And
And the guy then, like that, yeah, I was witness to all of this, and then the guy in the car got so angry at this, despite the fact he ran the red light, that he turned around in the car and drove it at the people.
Holy crap!
On the side of on the sidewalk, and almost hit a whole load of people. It's like, yeah, I know, it was crazy. And then he got out the car and was arguing that he was in the right. So I just took photos of his car and stuff, and my colleague filmed the instant, and we sent that in.
Ah. Like, not all heroes wear capes, John, except for those times where you wear a cape.
I have worn a cape. I currently have one downstairs that isn't even mine, but it's in my house.
Do have to ask, why is this monkey got the keys? Like, is this the monkey's job? It's like, oh yeah, you watch the keys. Why would you give them to him? Why wouldn't you
monkey
just put
jailer? It's great
to throw a monkey wrench in Penguin's plans.
Oh,
but yeah,
you
no,
think
it's
that
just
he like, you know, gave the keys to the monkey, and the monkey was like, "I don't want to be your monkey wrench." And then the penguin, that monkey's name is actually Dave Grohl.
Oh.
And after this movie, he went on to form a band.
Yeah,
a little band some of you may have heard of.
He was in.
What is it called?
I was trying to think of one of the other bands that Dave Grohl
The
was
Eagles of Death Metal.
There you go.
Is he in them? I think he is. He's in every band in the world.
It's always those things. If you watch enough Kerrang, you'll see random bands with Dave Grohl just drumming in the background for some reason. Like, why are you there, Dave?
Yeah, he's like, why not? I got nothing better to do. But yeah, well, I just feel like if maybe the penguin set down the keys and the monkey got the keys because the monkey wants to play with the keys.
Yeah.
Simple.
I think the monkey's picked them up of his own accord. Yeah.
I think maybe he's like the penguin's stress eating, but the monkey's like, you know, it's so nervous it needs to do something with its hands, so it's picked up the keys to sort of like.
I sympathize. That's me. I do that at all times. This entire podcast, I've been playing with a safety pin, and stabbing myself with it.
Have you ever watched the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights?
That's actually one of his movies I haven't seen.
So Will Ferrell's like, he's doing his first interview, and he's picking up his hands and putting them up, and so the people can see. He's like, I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Yeah, that would be me. I sympathize with him. But this monkey, as well, like Max attempts to get it to come over with the keys by just sort of beckoning to it. But this is a trained monkey, a circus monkey, who has grown up around these people, this gang. Why the hell would he go over to Max?
Maybe again, the monkey sees the writing on the wall. Like, it's already had one encounter with Batman, where Batman was obviously like picked it up and strangled it and was like, "You go back to the penguin, you give him this damn note," and then threw the monkey back into the sewer. It was clearly what happened in that
I think you're assuming far too much intelligence from this monkey.
Swear to me you'll take this to the monkey, to penguin. Swear to me.
It could be like those guys in remember in Iron Man 3 when, like, you know, at the end in the compound, like, Tony Stark's going around like killing everybody, and then there's this one guy comes to him, points the gun, and then he instantly puts it up and goes like, "You know what? I quit anyway. I don't even like it here. These people are so weird, and just runs away. It could be the monkey is just like, yeah, the hell with it. I'm giving this guy the key, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Maybe I'm not giving the monkey enough credit.
Yeah, the monkey, like, again, not to spoil next week, but like the rest of the Red Triangle gang are getting ready to get up and go. It could be the monkey's just a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they're following the monkey's lead. He's the new leader. They've gone from a penguin to a monkey. It's not much different.
It's Batman 3. That monkey turned out to be the Riddler.
I feel like they both make certain sounds. They both kind of chirp.
Yeah.
So
Little
maybe
monkeys.
Yeah, maybe the monkey speaks penguin, and it's just he's multilingual.
Oh my god, that'd be great. I want a scene a bit like in Solo where Han talks to Chewbacca. I want the monkey to talk to the penguins in Penguin.
I'd watch that.
Hell yeah, and vice versa. I want the penguins to talk monkey.
Well, speaking of things speaking,
the penguin does not.
But one of my favorite lines of the whole movie, the thing that I've quoted several times this season, and I do frequently in my my day-to-day life, is from the Poodle lady here now. It's like, there is something coming this way, very large, very fast. And it's just the fact that she could not be more kind of serene in delivering this terrible news that Batman's coming to knock the crap out of the Penguin.
So many.
Because again, they
jokes.
know it's Batman, don't they? There's nothing else it's going to be.
No, definitely. Yeah. But it's just I love saying that though. And the thing is, because it's not like a well-known line from the movie either. So you say it to people and they just kind of like look at you like, what? And just the fact that you have to take on the calm and slow way of speaking.
And you're sat there all smug, like, yeah, quoted a weird line.
That's a story of my life.
Yes. And most people will just be like dying to say, like, that's what she said afterwards, because it's such a setup, like, very large, very
there's
fast.
so many dirty jokes.
Yeah.
I said that's what she said to someone I work with the other day, who I thought would get it, but I failed to factor in that he's in his 50s, and he has not watched the American Office. So I just said it, and he just kind of stared at me like, what the f***?
I thought it would have been a thing that would have dated back decades. Like, that predates the American Office, surely. Like,
that seems to be where it's like had a resurgence, though.
Yeah.
That's where it got its popularity, I would say.
But here's the thing, actually, though. In talking about the Poodle lady here, that's not a real poodle in her lap in this. It's weird, though, because it looks like it's kind of moving, but I don't know if she's moving it. But if you look at its face, that looks like a really bad fake poodle.
Yeah, I think it's a puppet. I think it's like a hand puppet.
It's so weird, though, because like the face of it looks like a knitted, like, this is a thing like you would make for a child. Like, and it's got a bunch of like straw for the poodle mane.
Well, I think they just assume you're not going to notice, because I never saw it until doing this minute by minute. I never noticed she had a penguin. I said had a poodle with her there.
It could be a penguin in a poodle.
Oh my god! It's a penguin dressed as a poodle. It's been that all along.
Yep, it's canon. We discussed it.
It's canon. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. They've got all these penguins laying around.
Again, I wonder if that was a thing that. We talked about the stop motion in the previous minute. We're like, oh yeah, Tim, surprising he didn't try to have all the penguins be stop motion all the time. I wouldn't have been surprised if this he like originally wanted the poodle to be a creepy puppet. It was like, oh yeah, it's like crazy, like kind of creepy stop motion poodle puppet. And then at some point, it's like, it'd be way easier to just get an actual poodle to come in and do, all right, I guess we can do that. But this is the one remnant of that creepy poodle puppet. It literally looks like a sock puppet with like little button eyes, and she just got her hand in for the mouth, and she's like, man, just moving around a little bit.
Definitely a hand puppet, I would say, because look at where it's positioned as well.
Yeah, so again, there's a lot of because this is the second to last minute we get of the Poodle lady. This movie's Bob, but we didn't get anywhere near as much of her as we did with Bob. Bob seemed to be like an omnipresent thing throughout the first movie when we were talking about it, at least, but not so much.
But what about Bob? I love Bob.
He's gone now.
So you gotta take those baby steps.
I wish Bob had survived the first movie, and because we've speculated in this that maybe these people were remnants of the Joker's gang. I know that they're not really, but it would be fantastic. You know, they need a new leader, circus-themed leader. They find the Penguin. Great. Now, because Bob could have helped to facilitate that. He could have been the man to hook him up with this Penguin guy he's heard about.
Yeah. Although we did have a Bat-Minute canon of what happened to Bob, where he did survive, and him and Knox ended up in the same hospital room. And they, much as is the modern way, as fans, we made them a couple, because that's what fans do now. Every 2 characters that interact, you have to make them a couple. So, they became, was it Box or Knob?
Box.
Okay. Box.
I liked Box.
But I would have actually liked, though, when all the Penguins were going into Gotham Square, if they had, like, you know, one of those, you know, the old cliche of, like, the random wino, like, lying in the street, and then he sees something crazy happen, and he's like, "That's it, I'm off the hooch," and throws the bottle away and stuff.
Yeah.
But it would have been great if they did that, and it was Knox, and that was him, like, that's where he's been the whole time. He's like, oh, his career's in ruin, he's destitute. And then he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna go report this. And then he goes back into, like, the Gotham Globe offices. And he's like, oh my god, guys, there's a Penguin army, I saw it. But because no one else was in Gotham Square, nobody believes him. So he's got the scoop on the biggest story that's happened since the Joker, and no one friggin' buys it, because, like, well, no one else saw this Penguin army, dude. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. He's back. It's kind of like he's back to square one. At the beginning of that first movie, no one believed him when Batman was there. And then it turned out he was right. And then this one's like, nope, straight back to where he was.
But yeah, much like Fox Mulder, he can continuously prove himself to be correct and nobody will believe him. Doesn't matter how many times Scully sees an alien or a UFO, doesn't matter. He's going to question it.
There's a show like Bob and Knox doing the X-Files. Like those... Like Bob becomes his I don't know, you find out that he's also like a scientist or something, and then he's like,
yes,
that's right, I'm a doctor, I can and I'm also an FBI agent, it turns out, and we're going to go investigate Box Mulder. There you go.
That'd be fantastic.
But anywho, where were we in the minute?
I don't know. We went into very different worlds of pop culture, so I kind of got lost myself.
To be honest, there's a reason we did. I know we always do anyway, but not much else happens in the minute. To be honest, there's a lot of tension building. You know, Penguin's grunting away. Everybody's looking around for whoever or whatever is on its way to the lair. That's about it. I mean, Batman announces he's homing in on the signal's origin.
I do like the one thing is that the Penguin apparently is very light-footed. The way he scurries across, like he seems like oh he's light in his toes. That guy. I guess maybe that's how he outran the police. It's like, oh yeah, the Penguin's a great runner. Like don't let that suit fool you. Like, plus you have to give it to Danny DeVito again. Like that suit weighed like 200 pounds or something. It's like he's prancing about there as if it's nothing.
When he took that suit off at the end of shooting, he was just jacked.
Well, he does play twins to Arnold Schwarzenegger, so...
Yep, exactly, yeah. And he really looked like his twin after this.
Maybe that's why they greenlit it at the time. It's like, no, he literally looks like a mini Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then he was back to normal Danny DeVito by the time they started shooting. Like,
oh, Danny, what are you doing?
Also, I'm just looking here, though. I absolutely love, though, the ominous buildup of Batman's arrival in this. Like, because again, you're getting back to that stuff again. You know, like the start of the first movie, where it's like, yeah, the legend of Batman is built. So, like, the Red Triangle Gang, they've already had an encounter with the guy. They know that he can knock the crap out of them. So the fact then is like everything's going quiet in the sewer, and they can hear in the distance like the engine approaching and cutting to everything, and even like the Poodle lady's kind of looking down, like, okay, well, I guess we know where this is going. And it's like, I love the build up of palpable fear within the characters, because it's getting back to the heart of what Batman's supposed to be. So I really love that as a moment.
Too many Batman things don't make him kind of scary to the villains.
Yeah,
he's more of a nuisance.
That was still my favorite part of Batman versus Superman, was the before you saw him, when the police come in and they're like, oh, everyone's just like, they go down to the room full of, like, I guess it's supposed to be like human people have been human trafficked or whatever. And they're all going like, it's upstairs, it's still here and stuff. And then they go up and there's the batarangs in the wall and stuff. And there's a really ominous build-up of like they're going up to see a friggin' monster or something.
Yeah.
Yep. And then as soon as you see Batman, the movie kind of takes a bit of a dive after that. But,
I think they should do like a horror movie from the villain's perspective, where they're being hunted by the Bat.
was that part of like an Arkham like DLC where you were one of the goons?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just saw like up in the rafters and stuff like that, and it made it out to be a lot scarier than. I guess what you were talking as well, John, is in Battlefront, where you're like one of the stormtroopers getting hunted by the Ewoks, and it's like a proper scary game and stuff.
Such a cool little mode that. I mean, you can be the Ewok as well, but obviously that's not scary. You're on the hunt. But as the stormtroopers, you're on Endor. It's pitch black. You've got a flashlight, but it's got a very limited battery. You have to keep turning it off to recharge. And if you turn it on, the Ewoks see you, obviously. It's very scary.
My only other note that I do have is as we get the shot of Doug Jones, we see I don't know if you know, Jake, that the bald clown, that's Doug Jones. That's the guy from The Shape of Water and stuff, playing that part.
Huh.
Yeah,
I did not know this. The more you know.
Yeah. But just
Star Trek Discovery as well. Like.
But over to the side. That was the thing I actually did in a quiz the other night where they had a bunch of like it was a sci-fi themed quiz, and they had a bunch of pictures of aliens for the picture round, and they had him there from Star Trek Discovery, and they're like, "What's his species?" I was like, "What the hell am I supposed to know his species?"
I don't know. I need to go back to that show. I've only watched a few of them. I didn't really like it that much, but I'm willing to give it a go because it's Star Trek.
But as a last ditch attempt to see if I could get like a sympathy vote, I put like Dougius Jonius for his species, but we did not. We came second, but like
nil point.
But over to his side, there's a big weird curled spring, like a kind of like a giant, like a thing that would have been in like a Joker-esque giant Jack-in-the-Box kind of thing. I'm just what the hell is that? Why is that there?
That's a good question, actually. I didn't notice that. What the hell?
Could it be left over from when the opening attack, when they had the guys springing out of the big giant box?
Oh, definitely. Look at it. It's got to be something like that.
I guess so. I didn't think they would have took that stuff back, but they find out like the Penguin's like a real stingy guy. Like, hey, no way, like wasting a giant spring. You pick it up and bring it back to the damn sewer when you're done.
It's expensive.
Well, not everyone's a billionaire like Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. If anything, Bruce Wayne should be the villain. He's this billionaire lording it over people, beating down the proletariat.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't have blonde hair and a orange tan, I think it would. If they did that, then he really could be the villain.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm like that is kind of the end of the action for the minute. Do either of you guys have anything else that you want to mention about this minute, or?
I think that's all my notes.
Just Christopher Walken has really big bug eyes in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like he's trying when he rips out that handkerchief to entice the monkey. He's kind of creepy. He's like a little bit of a pedo right there. He's like, "Hey, come here."
I was thinking more like the child catcher, but okay. Well, that kind of sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, well,
it is the same thing.
Pretty much. Well, that's why Marilyn Manson used to dress as the child catcher, isn't it? It's like it freaked parents out.
But like, I just it was great to be on. But like, yeah, it's just like I just feel like Christopher Walken is a little bit just like that hairdo. He has no eyebrows. He's creepy looking.
It's so weird considering he's supposed to be an upstanding citizen who's respected by the community.
But Jake, like what do you remember when you first saw Batman Returns? Do you have any fond memories associated with this movie or anything?
I do. I saw it in, as you would say, the cinema. I say the movies.
Both work.
Yeah. So I saw it in theaters, and I was a younger kid because this came out when I'm just trying to remember, or actually it might have been Just trying to remember when this came out, because I'm trying to remember if I saw it in theaters or if I saw it on VHS. Because, you know, I'm that old. So 92.
VHS for me.
Yeah, so it would have been VHS. Sorry, I just remember it was probably the next film that I saw in theaters. But I saw it VHS. I remember having the two side by side, because like you had the original one in its cardboard case, because they came in cardboard for your VHS, but it had Batman and Batman Returns. So I probably watched that. I watched it a lot because I had quite the Batman toy collection, but it was all the newer movies, not the older ones. But I did remember having the Bat. I don't know, what would you call this? The Bat boat, the Bat skiff.
Oh, yeah, I think it's like the Bat ski boat or something. It's a really awkward name. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure what to call that. But I had that toy. Can't grab it up, but I ended up dropping it and it broke. You know.
Oh.
And then so I don't have it anymore. I remember I even had the Batmobile telephone.
Oh.
So on the underside that's where I had like the buttons.
Oh, cool.
So
jealous.
Well, you know, it's like it was here. It's like I was a big Batman fan, but like I was like when you were younger, like it was okay, but like when I got to middle school, comic book movies weren't cool.
Oh, they very much weren't.
So we had to be the closet nerd and be like, yeah, I still like Batman and this stuff, and like you're an idiot. It's like you're an idiot. Batman's cool.
Yeah,
then,
I've been there.
But no, like I just I was like I felt like I swore I saw this like when it was in theaters, because I would have been 4 when this came out. But I still enjoyed it. I didn't get scared. I didn't kind of understand a lot of the stuff that was going on, because you know, a lot of the movies you watch nowadays that you watch as a kid, you pick up on a lot of the subtle comedy and hints. And you're like, this is actually kind of dirty. You're like, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Very dirty, not kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's one of these things. This movie is not so much like, oh, there's a subtext. It's like, no, it's just the text. Like, when you're a kid, you don't understand what it means.
You know, it's like watching Shrek in the first one a while ago with my son, and all of a sudden it's like I was watching Lord Farquaad, and he's looking at the magic mirror, and all of a sudden he gets like this weird smile and pulls up his blanket. I'm like, he just got an erection. This is weird.
Max Shrek is in the first. I was going to try to make a joke about Max Shrek being in the first Shrek movie, but then I realized I would have to say Shrek movie, and the joke would have been ruined. So,
but like I had him on VHS. I now have them in a nice little DVD combo. But yeah, I still watch them today. Not ready to show my 2-year-old that, but in eventually.
Yeah, maybe a little dark for that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You could probably go with the Schumacher ones.
Yeah, those ones for sure.
That's the thing. What order, as a father, you know, with a 2-year-old who's doing a Batman podcast, which order would you like? Would you start off? Because the Nolan movies seem more adult. Like that's more like, oh, you watch them when you're like a teenager. Where would you start like, oh, you start them with Schumacher, and then you
I'd go back to I would start them with the 60s movies.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah, because those are like, yeah, it's like it's cartoony. You know, nothing like if something bad happens, you don't really see it, so you can kind of laugh at it.
Yeah, and
then you can get into the Schumacher ones, and then I would say these ones are, and then you can get into like the Michael Keaton and Christopher Nolan verse.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the logical progression, I think.
And Ben Affleck just left out in the cold. It's like, oh yeah, you watch them. When you're an adult, you can watch them when you want, but not my damn house.
You can watch them if you choose to, but I'm not going to force that on you.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I just feel like, you know, at that point, it's like if he's not into comic book heroes, I failed as a father.
But they might rebel. Be like, well, I'm not going to like that. That's sad. My dad likes it. It's pathetic.
It's like, I don't like DC movies. I only like Marvel. It's like, well, I like both. Well, I don't like any of them. I only like French films. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
You go like your French films.
On that note, yes, we will head into the dark, dark night once more. Jake, would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you once again?
Well, they can find me at, the Dark Knight Minute, and they can find us on the podcatches, and, you can find us there on Twitter at Dark Knight Minute, Facebook, our League of Listeners page, or you can find us mulling about in England, in Liverpool, sometime in the future.
Well, you can definitely find us in Liverpool. So if anyone listening is in the vicinity, give us a shout, and we'll maybe come for a drink. Maybe. It's a possibility. It depends on schedule, We're busy people. We're celebrities now. We've got to keep up the show. We've got all these celebrity parties to attend, all these premieres of movies, go to the red carpet, We'll see what we can do. But you can always talk to us online. We're on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. And we're on Twitter at Bat Minute. Instagram. This is Tumblr. I bring up the Tumblr all the time. Never use it. Nobody uses Tumblr anymore. They've killed themselves. They've destroyed it.
I just uploaded a picture of the Tumblr to the Tumblr. That's all I've done.
Well, that's all you need to do, because there's no point anymore. But if anybody does want to use it, send us a message there. I'll get the notification. And you know what? I never promote this. We're on YouTube. We have a couple of listeners on YouTube, which is weird. That's why I keep doing it. So, we're on YouTube. And I mentioned earlier in the week, on Monday, I think, we're on Spotify. So check us out there. And join us again on Monday. We will have new minutes and a new guest. See you then.
Next time, holy vanishing vagabonds, the Red Triangle Gang, make like a tree and get out of there, as the bat infiltrates Cobblepot's lair. But as the most malicious mutant moves out of his mallet-mobile, can our hero find an antidote to his automated Anatidae via a canard car collision? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute, but always more cowbell.